All right, so this is your test for Articles of Confederation, Constitution, Convention test. I'm going to read you the questions. I'm going to give you 50-50 for these answers here. So please also make sure that you use your notes as you go forward, okay? So here comes the first couple ones. We're going to talk about the branches of government. So the first one here, this branch of government interprets the laws. So your key there is laws. So this type of branch will interpret your laws. So laws, in this case, so what do you have here? You have judicial branch or executive branch. They interpret the laws. These are where the judges are at. Okay. Next one is the branch that carries out the laws. This is where the president is at. So the president is part of what branch? The judicial branch or the executive branch. Okay. The third one here, this branch of government makes the laws. So this is where they make the laws, and this is where your Senate, your House of Representatives. So this one is either the legislative branch or the executive branch. Okay. Moving on down. So this is the judicial branch. So the judicial branch, remember, is the judges. So where do the judges live or work? The courts or the Congress. Okay. The next one here is which of the following was not an accomplishment of the Second Continental Congress? Was it did they writing the Articles of Confederation, or did they come up with a new economic plan? So the Second Continental Congress, this was after the war. So what did they not do? So this was after the war. So think about, what did they not do? Did they write our first Constitution, or did they not come up with a comprehensive economic plan? Our next one here, the federal executive branch is headed by who? Who heads the federal branch? So in this case, this is the federal, and there's the keyword, the executive branch. Who's in charge of the executive branch? Donald Trump was this. Now it's Joe Biden. Is it the president or the Supreme Court? The head of the executive branch in individual states. So this is the head of the individual states. So like Kentucky. Okay? Kentucky has this and all the other states. What is the leader of the states called? The governor or the mayor? Okay? Head of the state, not a city, but a state. So we'd say this is the blank of Kentucky, the blank of California. The next one here is, what is the legislative branch? Like, is it called the Senate? We have the Senate and the House of Representatives as the nation, but in the state, do we call it the Congress or the General Assembly? Okay. Do we call it Congress or do we call it the General Assembly? For Kentucky, a state. So what is it called here? We have something we had to ratify the Constitution. So to ratify something, does that mean we reject it or we approve it? Okay. This person is considered the father of the Constitution, someone who wrote the Constitution. All right. Was it LeBron James or James Madison? All right. The Great Compromise of the Constitutional Convention. So what was the Great Compromise? So they had to compromise between the bigger states and the larger states. What did they do here? Was it they set up a two-house legislature, the House of Representatives and the Senate, or was it the Senate will have two members from each state? Okay. The next one here, one of the lasting impacts of the Articles of the Confederation, the one thing that it did do well, it set up a way that they could distribute public lands or a strong presidency. So think about it. Did we have a president in the Articles of Confederation? Or did it set up things for public lands? Think about that where they distributed land for people to grow into statehoods. Is that something that's Articles of Confederation. So this is what is an economic downturn, something that goes down. You can also, I'll give you a hint, it's something like when you're sad. Is it a depression or is it a boom? Okay. The next one here, this is an uprising that scared a lot of the Americans, and it also proved that the Articles of Confederation probably would not work because we needed a stronger national government. And it was a rebellion. So was it the Boxer Rebellion, or was it about a farmer named Shays Rebellion? Which one would that one be? This rebellion happened. The Boxer Rebellion or Shays Rebellion? All right. So this is a land ordinance of 1785. This is where it distributed, if you come back up here, distributed the public lands in 1785. These were divided into, what were they divided into here? So these were, the lands were divided into this to develop these things. Were they divided into city-states or were they divided into townships? And some places still call them or have them called townships still. So the land ordinance of 1785, basically what did that tell us to do there? So was that D, all of these? Or did it say only thing about slavery? So think about what 1785 land ordinance does. It divided the groups into stuff and they were able to do whatever they was. So was it D or was it B? Okay. D means all three of these things. So, okay. The Northwest Ordinance of 1785. I'm at 1787, so that one is this one here. So pick that one. The next one here, which of the following states is not part of the Northwest Territory? So not part of the old Northwest Territory. So there's only one state, and I'll tell you, it's, if you can think about it, it's home of the Golden Gophers, Thousands Lakes. Was it Minnesota or was it Indiana? Okay. A form of democracy where people elect the representatives. We have that right now. What do we call that here? Is that is called a Republican or a Democratic? Okay. The next one here, which of the following is not an influence on the U.S. Constitution? Which one did not impact the Constitution? Was it the Communist Manifest or was it the Magna Carta? I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with Russia that did not influence us. The next one here, a period in history in which the power of reason or rule of law dominated scientific theory. These were called, this was a period of what? A period of the Dark Ages or the period of Enlightenment? I'll give you a hint. It's really bright. Bright. If I could write with this. Next one here, this man was elected chairman of the Constitutional Convention. So who was this one? He also became our first president. Was this Thomas Jefferson or George Washington? One of those. He became our first president. This guy became our first president because he was the first chairman or the president of the Constitutional Convention when they wrote the Constitution. The next one here, the first national government of the United States was called what? Remember, we already had the first Continental Congress. So this one was what? Second or the third? This was our first one. We've already had the first Continental Congress. Okay. In the Northwest Ordinance, Section 16 of each township was set aside for who? Who were they set aside for? Were they Native Americans? Or were they set aside for education, for schools? So basically, you had a plot of land, remember? It was broken up into plots for people to live, and the 16th section always had to be for what individuals? Or for what? The Native Americans or for education? I'll tell you this, you're getting it right now. Next one here, a list of freedoms that cannot be taken away by the individual, from the individual by the state is called what? What are these things here? They have it at the very end of our Constitution. There was 10 at the very beginning. Was it the Bill of Attainder or the Bill of Rights? The first ones had 10 of them that they attached. We still attached them too. We called them amendments, but this was the first ones we attached. And you should know that, Bill of Attainder or Bill of Rights. The next one here, the preamble, that's the introduction of what they wanted to do for the Constitution. It says that the government will do these except for what? What did they say that they would not do? Did they say they would not outlaw slavery or not protect the country from enemies? Which one did they say they would not do? Okay. Then getting close to the end here, which one was not at the, who was not at the Constitutional Convention? Well, if I look at these things, there were actually two people that were not at the Constitutional Convention. Two people were not at the Constitutional Convention. So pick F. Patrick Henry and Thomas Jefferson were not at the Constitutional Convention. Benjamin Franklin and Alexander Hamilton were. The next one here, the term used to describe the separation of powers between state and federal governments. So we have the state governments and you have federal governments. That is either called federalism or popular sovereignty. I'll give you a hint. Federal. The next one here, the power to make laws about marriage and divorce is a blank power. That is either is it a reserve power or a delegated power? All right, the powers given specifically to the federal government are called what? So these are given right to it. So we give them, we pass them out. Are they unique or are they delegated? Are they called unique powers or delegated powers? So the ones that we do with the state governments, what do we call the state governments? Are they reserved for the state government or are they unique for the state government? Reserved. The next one here, the powers that are shared between the states and the national government. There is nothing here. I will tell you that there was not a good answer. So you need to pick option one, and then you need to pick option one here too. Okay. So option one. And then when you get done, click submit, and you will be finished. Okay. So go back and watch this video if you need one reread to you, and there they are for you. Best of luck. Bye.